So you should know that when I came back from Poland, I brought back several things. First, a ton of memories from that crazy event, the Ultra Race.
But I also, and most importantly, came back with the desire to build a drift car. And believe me, for a guy like me, that was far from a given.
I've never drifted in my life, I've never really liked it, but seeing all those cars over there, I thought I need one. So just so you know, this car won't be a drift car like you might expect, like in the usual way. Whoa, maybe a bit, I'm not sure. For now, I mainly want to build this car. What I do with it, I'll decide later. For sure, we'll do a discovery day on a wet track and then we'll see what comes out of it. I don't know, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that steering wheel and messing around with this car. But for now, I don't know. Just let me enjoy building it. Anyway, all that to say, I brought back a lot of things from Poland, like this little keychain you see. I found it at the airport, I thought it was amazing. Rocklo, Poland. And I thought that for the Mercedes, we couldn't do better. So, first thing. Second thing, I brought back this sweatshirt, but I think you've already seen it in several videos. It comes from Ondori shop, it's really cool, and the design on the back is really awesome. Big polish fiberglass body kit made by Mathieu in his own shop, and that's really cool. Of course, Ondori also sells these things, LED strobes to put instead of your parking lights. In normal mode, so it's beeping, that's normal because the door still isn't fixed, you know. And we think we look good. Ho ho ho, that's awesome! And then, I brought back a few other little goodies. So, you probably remember, during Ultras, there was a Mercedes drifting, a W202 like that, white, with a crazy custom body kit. And I had a good chat with him, and the guy told me he provides some little stickers. So, the guy's name is Static Daddy on Instagram, so this is his sticker, and he also makes these little 100 bills like this. I told him, wow, your stickers and 100 bills are cool. How can I get them? Do you sell or give them away? He said, no. Unfortunately, I only give them to my clients who buy my fiberglass body kit. So I told him, but if I just want those little 100 bills, can't you sell me one or two just because they're cool? He said, no, they're really only for clients. Anthony Perrier, that's lame. You just took the front bumper. No. Friends, before we continue preparing the Mercedes that's just below, let me tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, which is none other than Car Vertical. So, Car Vertical, they've been supporting me for a few years now, and I'm really grateful to them. Because besides helping me do all these projects on the YouTube channel, well, they also provide a quality service that can be useful to everyone. And in fact, I've already used it myself to buy a car, which you'll discover very soon on the channel. So Car Vertical is a platform that's available on mobile and on computer, which allows you to check the history of a vehicle you want to buy or that you already own. Once you're on the site, you can enter either the VIN or the license plate, and in this case, Car Vertical sent me the report for a 2015 BMW M5 F10, which looks pretty interesting to me. So when you get to the report, you can already see that, unfortunately, it requires your attention. Let's scroll down right away, and indeed, you can see that in November 2017, the car was damaged on the front side in the United States. If we scroll up a bit, we get to the odometer tracking, which seems good up until 2022, and just above that, there's the photo gallery of the M5. Honestly, I think this one is going to cost quite a bit. The whole front suspension assembly is completely torn off. I think the car really went through a rough time. On the other hand, the configuration is amazing. The orange interior is crazy, and when we scroll down a bit more, we see that it was made in Germany, obviously it's a BMW. Then it was imported to the United States, where it was sold, and it stayed almost 2 years in the US, where it had a major crash. It was then put up for sale, and ended up in Belgium in February 2019. That's when it arrived on European soil, where I imagine it was repaired, then registered, and then sold to a French person, since from 2020 it passed the French roadworthiness inspection. So in the link, if this kind of service might interest you, don't hesitate to click the link in the description or enter the promo code PDLV directly on Car Vertical, which will give you a 20% discount on all your future reports. Anyway, we still have a lot to do on the C-Class downstairs, so let's get started. I'm not sure if it will start immediately or on the first try, since I don't know if you remember, but in the episode where we did the mapping, well, the VRI mod, there on the dyno, at the very beginning, I was like, guys, so it's really well known on the OEM 605, 606, there's a problem, it's that air is getting into the diesel fuel system, because there's a seal that needs to be replaced. And then I'm like, that's it starts up perfectly, no problem. So actually, that wasn't true, looking back. There were probably a lot of other seals to replace. I didn't replace them.
Donc, bref, tout ça pour dire...
On top of that, the battery is dead. Another random video intro for a random project. The guy tells you about a body kit straight from Poland, but his car never has a battery. I'm stunned! Well, we don't have a choice. Here we go again. I put the cables on another spare battery that I always keep on a charger to try to start my car. I can't start it with my booster because the 2.5 liter engine is so hard to start cold that it drains the booster after just 2 tries. Then I have to go to the front and pump the diesel to remove the air from the system. Only then can I try to start it. And then, ta-da, it starts. Magnificent, on the first try. So now, I imagine the question you're all asking yourselves while looking at this car is, Anthony, what's the goal? It's an F28. The techniques, they're right here. It's okay. No, honestly, right now, the main goal is to go over everything that doesn't work. Because, you see, Shatrax sent me a lot of parts, and we're going to have a blast taking off all the crappy parts on this car to replace them with nice parts in terms of bodywork and other things. So I'll show you first what's wrong. We'll start with the nice little parts, really cute ones. We've got the driver's side mirror, mine is smashed, rear light, driver's side, mine has a big hole in it, the little central locking compressor. Because if you saw the last episode of the Mercedes, I think if the central locking doesn't work, it's because of this thing. And a gauge cluster. And damn, the gauge cluster, I'm really so happy. It looks awesome. It's brand new, I don't know how many kilometers it has, but it's brand new, like straight from the factory. And that really makes me happy. Mine was messed up. They replaced the bulbs with LEDs of all different colors. It looks awful. It flickers, nothing works right. So I'm putting back an original gauge cluster in really good condition. That was important to me. So a huge thank you to Thomas, to Shatrax, who provided me with these parts. If you don't know Shatrax, I'll put the link in the description. He runs a junkyard with a huge lot full of cars. When I went there for another project I have with them, I seen they told me they had almost 2,000 cars in the lot. It's crazy, so I'm extremely happy. Especially since, don't forget, we're talking about an old car that's over 20 years old. Well over 20 years old. So, finding wreckers who keep parts for these cars is pretty complicated. So all of this is great. Honestly, we're going to install it on the car. But I also wanted to show you something really cool. They even managed to find me 4 doors for the E-Class. So 2 rear doors from a Wagon and 2 front doors from a sedan. The Wagon's front end wasn't great, but the sedan's was nice. So they mixed parts for me. The color isn't right, but that's fine. We'll discuss later in the video why it's not a problem, and I'm excited to share that with you. So, first, we're going to take care of the left rear light because that's a missing detail that really bothers me. I hate seeing that damn rear light with the damn hole in it. I'm being a bit vulgar, huh? It's really quick to do, it's awesome. They also gave me the mounting plate and nuts. Yes, perfect. Perfect. Well, to remove the gauge cluster, it really wasn't very complicated. I used a kind of hook like this made of Teflon to get behind the gauge cluster. And actually there are like 4 hooks. One here, one at the bottom, one at the bottom. And then you can take it out. And I didn't even notice, but this one is broken and you can actually see this one. The problem with it is that when I turn on the ignition, it's just weird colors, and the worst part is when I turn on the headlights. Here on the left, it doesn't light up anymore. See the turquoise color flickering everywhere. I was going to tell you that the problem would be the mileage, but actually not so much. Because here, as you saw, it shows 106,000 kilometers, while the car is supposed to have over 200,000. That was already noted during the inspection when I bought it. So in the end, we don't care, so let's just plug in the new gauge cluster to see if it works. Wow, it's so nice, it's lit up in white and yellow. This one has a few more kilometers on it. Anyway, you get it, it's gonna be old-fashioned. I'm a lot less cheerful than yesterday. Why? Because you're going to spend another 13 minutes talking about the door when people are waiting for a polished body kit. So once again, I have to speed things up a bit in a compiled way. Cocoon compiled. Alright. Anyway, basically, you probably noticed Chatrax. He sent me 1, 2, 3, 4 doors for the car. So this door here, I wanted to change it because there's a huge rust spot at the front. This door here, I want to change it because I don't know how do you change it. A rear quarter window, that one, was replaced with plexiglass. I don't know how to change it. And this door here, there's absolutely no need to change it. It's absolutely perfect. And actually, when I asked them for the left rear door, I said right. And this one, that's the real door that needs to be changed, because it's completely shot, totally done for. You see, if I try to catch a reflection here, you can tell there's a real problem. And there you go.
It tells you it doesn't know how to do it, and then he finds a Czech Poloslavian forum that explains it's super simple. So in the end, it changes his quarter window.
Okay, here we are a few days later. I've made good progress on the super annoying stuff on the Mercedes, like the doors and all that crap. So there's still one door control unit left to change and both mirrors to put back on, the mirrors. In the end, I got both from the E-Class, because both have electric adjustment and folding, whereas the one I got from Chatrax. No, so in the end, it's not so bad, and I get the feeling that the mirrors from the W210 and W202 are the same. So, little tip. We'll see if it works, if it fits, if that's true. Now, we're going to get into the topic everyone wants to see. Because, well, after all, I think that's why you clicked on the video, the body kit. So the body kit for me was kind of obvious in the sense that when I was in Wrocław, Poland, well, it was really that made me want to build this thing. And when he told me that it actually wasn't that expensive, I was relieved. Many thanks to my friends who brought it back from Poland for me months after Ultrace. So here we are with the front bumper, and just a little background. Actually, this front bumper is derived, if I'm not mistaken, from a Nissan S13. Also, it has some similarities with the 505 because, well, for those who don't know, the Peugeot 505, inside we have a Mercedes OM606 engine that's mounted on a complete Nissan S13 front subframe, and soon there will be a lot of details about the rear subframe. So it's basically a front lip from an S13, I couldn't tell you the brand, that was attached to a front bumper from a W202, and then it was molded and completely remade in fiberglass. It's super stylish. Well, basically, the only thing I can really do to show you is to take off the original bumper and fit this bumper on. Just to get a little idea, it makes me so happy. Okay, let's try not to damage anything because I'm not sure it will fit on the sides with the original mounts. Damn, there's a fender liner there. Damn, I forgot to remove the fender liner. Anyway, as we were saying, top right, daddy sport bumper, that's it. Yeah!
Putain. Oh. Oh oui.
Actually, I'm half really happy and proud, and half a bit mixed, because, well, it's new, I don't really know what to think about it. Also, since it's white in a very dark car, I think that's what stands out. But damn, I think I'm really happy. I've been dreaming about this moment for a long time, and I think I think I'm happy. I think I'm really happy. Well, I think it's time to do a test. Fitting the side skirt, at least on the passenger side, your side, since for him it's the same. I just need to put it in place, in case anyone still doesn't get it. Here on the car, we're putting on a full body kit, so I don't think I can just fit it like this. I think maybe I need to remove the seals under the doors and everything. No, yeah, I think so. Or at least open the doors, I guess. Yeah, but the problem is, I can't see anything I'm doing, and the subscribers can't see anything either. What's the point of putting the car's value on a camera if the guy can't even film properly? And as if that wasn't enough, he plugged the mic into the wrong jack. Cax! So it's clipping, and I'm about to lose it too. Anyway, since the side skirt wouldn't fit, we had to cut an old plastic trim that's supposed to protect the side skirts. From this RS3 S200 Type P. The P, it stands for Poland, you see? Alright, today's mission is going to be making a crash bar for the front of the Mercedes. What's a crash bar? Well, I'll explain it to you. Basically, on drift cars, at the front, behind the bumper you can find a kind of bull bar that's attached directly to the car's chassis. And it's going to support everything like the bumper, intercooler, radiator, all those things that need a bit more space than stock, so it can make great mounting points. And on top of that, it helps protect all those components that are a bit more sensitive. Because, well, sometimes in drifting there's a bit of contact, so it can protect all those things. It can also make lifting the car easier depending on your needs, since you don't have to lift just the left or right side. If you want to change both tires, just put the jack in the middle and lift. It raises the whole car without searching for the subframe or anything. Personally, I mainly want to make a crash bar to attach our bumper because, well, our bumper is made of fiberglass and, well, we absolutely can't reuse the original mounting points at all unless we make major modifications. And honestly, I really don't want to. So of course, you've probably figured it out, I'm not inventing anything at all. The crash bar and all that stuff have existed for millions of years in the drifting scene. And for inspiration, I'm going to keep it very simple. I asked Static Daddy, the guy with the C-Class in Poland who sold me the body kit, how did he do it? He sent me some photos and we're basically just going to copy what he did, but not exactly. I'll explain it to you. Alright, so as you can see, I've removed the headlights, this and that, and now we have a completely bare front end. In Static Daddy's approach, he completely removed this big crossmember. Why? Well, actually, he has two cars, a naturally aspirated V8, and the second one, which is completely identical, is an M104 turbo. So that's the 2JZ, just so you understand easily, from Mercedes, a 6-cylinder inline turbo. It looks and sounds like a 2JZ, it's hilarious. Check out some videos if you're unfamiliar. Anyway, so he has a huge intercooler at the front, and the idea is, well, since we have a turbo, we might end up putting a huge intercooler too. So maybe removing that crossmember could be a good thing. The thing is that crossmember is actually a bit important for the integrity of the car, because it holds the two frame rails together. If we remove that crossmember, there's nothing left to hold the two frame rails together or to act as a crash bar. That's why it's important to make a crash bar. So, removing the crossmember, I think that's a pretty annoying thing to do because it's spot welded everywhere, you know? From here, all the way to the other side, through the middle, and so on, it's really spot welded everywhere. So I imagine it's going to be pretty annoying to do. But luckily, to save us and speed things up a bit, God invented the angle grinder. What am I doing here? Maybe I should think a little first, because Wait. Because actually, what I want before anything else, before putting a crash bar on my Mercedes, is to install a custom bumper on my Mercedes. The rest, all the structural stuff, to hold intercoolers that are just in my head for now and all that, that's not the point, okay? Right now, I just want to make a bumper support. That's all I want to do. Let's start with the basics. We'll deal with the crash bar later. First of all, you can tell this bumper is not going to fit on the car at all without modification. That's impossible. And actually, to install this bumper, there are several solutions. The first one, and it's definitely not the one we're going to use, is to modify the bumper. Add little brackets, glue on little brackets, screw on little brackets. Basically, no, I really don't want to do that. So we're still going to keep the idea of the crash bar, which will be used to hold the bumper. Let me explain. Actually, to hold your bumper in place, it's really simple. You take a tube and you bend it, you shape it, you weld it, so that it fits perfectly inside your bumper, right where it's going to support it. You see what I mean? So here, you need to make a tube that's bent, that matches the shape of the bumper and goes all the way to the end. And actually, this tube will allow you to set the bumper on top of it. And then, to attach the bumper to the fenders, the simplest and most common technique is to make a hole in your bumper, make a hole in your fender, and put in a rivet. And basically your bumper is held so tightly against the tube that's attached to the car that the two little rivets are enough to keep it in place on the car. So, first step of the day, make that damn bent piece of tube. Then we'll see what we do with the tube. We'll see if we adapt it by making a crash bar out of that tube. Or we'll see if we just attach it to the car somehow, just to hold the bumper. Because I don't know about starting to cut into the car's cross member. So, what did I do? I bought the tube, and then the bumper. And then, you see, inside the bumper, there's kind of a ridge, you see, that runs all along. And the goal is to follow that ridge precisely with the tube. The tube will be just underneath, and the bumper will rest on that ridge. Because, you see, in some places, it's pretty deep. So, I think if the tube is at the bottom of the ridge, it will hold the... No, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'll start by measuring the total length of the tube I need. And then I'll cut the tube. Spoiler alert, it's a lot bigger than it looks. So, you take a small string and then you measure the inside of your bumper. You don't want something rigid because otherwise you'll never be able to match the shape of your bumper. And there you go, is starting another project where everything is approximate. Just like this YouTube channel. If the measurements are as precise as those for his staircase, expect a fit worthy of a Tesla Model 3. That's a stray shot right there. Alright, now it's the little trick from my favorite buddy who's building an IS with a 2JZ from Poland, so I'm listening to his advice. He told me to clamp the pipe, use a piece of metal to draw a straight line along it, so you know the tube's center. And at first I was like, damn, how do I find the center of my tube? But actually, it's a tube, so no matter where you draw your line, as long as it's straight, it will be the center of your tube. You get it? It's logical actually. And by the way, don't forget, 20% off with the code PDLV on project.
C'est grâce à eux qu'on peut financer tous ces projets.
Supporting them fully matters to me because they support me, and it makes me happy. Anyway, I'll show you. Why do we draw the tube's center? Good question. Well, simply so that when you put it in your bender, once you've made a bend, well, you know where to put it back afterward. So that you don't have one bend going to the left, one bend going to the right, and so on. Yes, of course, careful, I didn't mention it, but the second very important step is to know the center of your pipe. That's very important. Why? Well, it's simply because that's where we're going to make our first bend. The bend in the middle of the bumper. How long is our pipe? 223 centimeters. 223, that makes 111, 111.5. Click. Bang. Bang. My tube isn't exactly straight, but it will do the job. And since you can find anything you want for cheap on the internet, I bought this. A bottle jack with 4 pieces of metal welded together that let you bend the tubes. And I'm not unhappy with it. Well, it's the first time I'm using this kind of machine. I don't want you to explain in the comments what I'm doing wrong, because I'm perfectly fine with doing things wrong, since I'm the one who did it all by myself. So the idea is... Wait, how does this work? First, you have to put the right size jaw underneath. Then, normally, if I put my tube in the middle, it balances on its own. Not bad. And then, look at what I did. I made 2 white marks on the thing and 1 on my tube, so I know we're roughly centered. I set a huge gap, because the goal here is not to make a huge angle, it's to make this angle right here, you see? Just here. So here the point is to make a really tiny angle by making sure everything is right in the middle. Everything nice and perfect, by eye. So pretty much nice and perfect. And then I'm going to put this together by tightening this. It's the first time I'm using it, so... And I don't want any comments like, you know, you have to put sand in the tube and then you have to close it with caps that you have to weld. Just let me do my thing. Okay. So here the goal is to put a bit of tension on it, to start making an angle, and we're really going to go little by little. I'm really going to make a complete body kit, front and back, like this. Damn, what a nightmare! If I feel like it's about to blow up and I'll get hurt or lose an eye, I don't know. Anyway, it's working. Let's stop here and check the bumper. Basically, it's not enough. We need more angle. Well, I did it. It's really ugly, because the bender, after a certain point, it's 3 thick. I didn't mention it, it's 42 outer diameter, 3 thick. So, it's starting to get a bit tough, honestly, let's be honest. The problem is that, well, the bender, it's not great either. It does the job, you know, it still has a pretty nice shape to look at. But at a certain point, I couldn't bend anymore, because maybe I reached the limit of... I don't know anything, man, look. Basically, on this side, the problem was that it was too far out, and on this side, it was too far in. So what did I do? Yeah, I cut it and I bent it. So now we have this shape that's completely awkward. And yeah, actually, you see, whenever I wanted to make tight angles, the little rollers on the bender would crush my tube. And same thing here. Here I did the same thing, but a bit better and more discreetly. Now we have a shape that fits almost perfectly into the bumper. As you can see, everything is still approximate. Right, wow, everything is really just approximate. So, as you've probably gathered, this part here is fixed, it's welded. Well, it's screwed in at least onto the body. So we'll see later how we do that. And then this goes into the bumper, and the bumper rests on top of it. The problem is that only the front of the bumper will rest on it, and the sides, not really. So, well, it's a problem without really being a problem, because in the end, what matters to me is that the bumper fits snugly at the front on the tube, and on the sides, even if it hangs a bit, it doesn't really matter. There we go, zip tie, it goes up, and it's perfect. So now the goal is to find a place for this tube on the car. So here what's going to be a bit tricky, first of all, is that it doesn't fit. Well, that's a great start already, you know what I mean? What's blocking it? It's the metal sheet there. Yeah, but that's the original bumper mounts. Those can be completely removed. We don't need them anymore. Next, it's about finding the right distance between the car and the bar so the bumper is positioned correctly. If the bar is too far forward, so is the bumper. If it's too far back, well, it might leave a bit of a gap when it's in place. Too high, too low, anyway, you get it. So basically, now we need to figure out how to attach this tube to the car. I cut my frame rails for several reasons. First reason, making a crash bar when you don't have a cross member in the middle anymore is way better. So I came up with several ideas and solutions for making plates to attach to the long rails. My crash bar must attach to the long rails, otherwise it loses its purpose. There were several solutions. One option was to make small brackets on each side, making a plate that would be screwed onto these two small brackets, etc. I just didn't want to leave the long rail open, simply because if you leave the long rail open, especially at the front of the car, dirt can get in and it can rust, etc. So I wanted to cap off the frame rail, and I also wanted that cap to serve as a support. I'm really happy with the work I just did. It's 11:30 PM, so it's still Thursday. Now I'll show you up close anyway, because I'm really proud of what I've done. Basically, you get it. The plates look like this. So here they're welded directly onto the frame rail, with a bead underneath. On the side, here, here. The welds aren't too bad. I've done better, but I've done worse, you know, so it's not bad. It's well penetrated in there, and then I go over this part because this is much thinner. So you really have to load up the thick sheet and go over onto the thin sheet. That's what Seb taught me. Seb, sending you hugs. Here you see the weld bead looks awesome, like really, I'm super happy. The problem is this, it made a little cut here, but otherwise, really not bad. On the other side, it's exactly the same. I loaded it up a lot more there because my welds were really ugly. So, well, I did another pass over it, that's why it doesn't look very nice. But in theory, I think it's going to be super strong. Now, I need to make some small plates, you see, that will be, I don't know, about this size, with 2 holes in them, so I can bolt the plate on with screws. On this plate, we're going to weld the frame that will hold the crash bar. So I removed the 2 parts that were there which were too long, because actually what I'm mainly interested in is protecting the front and especially making sure the front of the bumper holds. So I'll show you, it fits insanely well in my bumper, I'm really proud. I've prepared the bumper, I'll show you what it looks like. You see, that tube there is going to be attached to our 2 plates, which will be screwed onto the frame rails. So the things I just welded there. And then, well, the bumper, we just place it on the tube. Damn, it fits so well, it's crazy, right? So now, what's gonna be really hard is finding the right spot to attach the bumper in the right place. So what we need to do, I think, is to test fit the bumper on the car, like with little wooden shims like I did yesterday, and then bring in the tube and tack some support for the tube so they hold properly. First, I'll make the 2 small plates to screw onto the car. It's past midnight and I've made my 2 small square plates. I wanted to make them nice with chamfers, but it's fine. Now take out the screw and check if it lines up. It should, I measured well. So this is the first piece of our crash bar, or at least our bumper support here. Damn, hey, for once I drilled the holes in the right place. That's the least I could do. I cheated a little by using an 11 to drill instead of a 10, so there's a slight play. That's exactly what you need. And then the idea is, well, we'll have to fit our bumper with the tube inside. So maybe I'll hold it in place with a clamp. That's a good idea. Presenting the bumper to the car. Next, I measure the distance between my plate and my tube. I make tubes of the right size. Bam, bam, incredible! Actually, it's like making the bull bar for the 406, but much more discreet since it's behind the bumper. I slept in the 4x4 because I was too tired, but I still made good progress. Now, I just need to find the right tube length. I've tried several. You see, I made tubes of different lengths that fit in there. The problem is, none of the ones I made are really 100% correct. So I almost fell asleep, you know, I sat down on the backseat of the Mercedes. I was like, no, but at that point, because usually by 10:30 I'm done, you know? So there, at 1:30 in the morning, man, I was so tired. And obviously, he wasn't awake either. He even forgot to turn on the mic. It's true that it was amazing to see him succeed at things, putting the tubes in the right place and making a nice clean body kit. Of course, the video had to go wrong. Once again, as the solemn voiceover of this channel, I'm saving the day by coming in to explain what he's saying. Anyway, he's already repeated it 32 times. He cut tubes to the right length so that the bumper would fit well on the RS3. Then he tacked, welded, tacked, all that so the tube would hold. Obviously, all of it by feel, otherwise it wouldn't be fun. And you can already keep your command to yourself. In the next take, he turned the sound back on, but left the mic off. So the garage basically sounds like Valence Cathedral. Alright, it's welded now. Well, it's welded, I tacked it. So now, normally, if I remove the 2 clamps, I can take off the bumper and the tube will stay here. So after that, I'll take off my plate, go weld them properly, and normally after that, well, my bumper support will be done. And so, on top of that, well, it will help stiffen the chassis and hold the chassis opening in place, you see, so that the 2 long rails don't move apart or come closer together, like they do originally. Tack, tack, yes, we've started our tubular front end, which makes me very happy. The bumper now holds up by itself with no shims underneath, it's just sitting there. We'll likely add a mount here around the bar behind and do the same for the fenders. There are a few options, make holes here and there and use zip ties. At least with a big zip tie we know it's strong. Or, on the 406, I used something screwed into the fender and bumper, then added an elastic band. The advantage of this setup is that it stays flexible. You see, like, if we hit something, well, the bumper goes back into place by itself. Because in the end, our 406 bumper is held on exactly the same way as this bumper here, so yeah. The only thing that worries me a little with this setup is that it only attaches at very small points, and I don't want it to break my fiberglass. Because plastic is flexible, fiberglass much less. It's 2:30 PM, it's Friday. So, a few hours after what you just saw, I've made a lot of progress, especially on the front end of the Mercedes. What did I do? I added some paint to the welded plates to prevent rust. I also fully welded, painted and varnished the crash bar. It's starting to look good and now it's becoming something I really like. Well, maybe the welds aren't all amazing, but at least we've got something that's starting to look good. And the big advantage is that now the bumper fits exactly what the original bumper was. You take it, you put it on the crash bar, it's in the right place. Everything is perfect. So all that's left is to drill the fenders, drill the bumper to put in 2 little zip ties. I think for now we'll stick with this way of attaching it. It will work just fine. It's economical. We'll go to action. We buy a pack of zip ties, crash it 50 times and just put new zip ties on. Now I really want to take care of the side skirts. So now we'll have to remove the seals under the doors and fit the side skirt, and I think from there, well, that will be the most plug and play part of a body kit project. The video is already long enough as it is. I'll spare you this unsuccessful attempt at installing the side skirt since he preferred to leave it unfinished and go back to his fake drifter crash bar. To be continued. Anyway.
Puisqu'il a préféré laisser ça en plan et revenir à sa crash bar de faux drifter. Affaire à suivre.
Bref. All that to say that my little crash bar, or at least version 1 of my crash bar, is dry. I'm going to install it on the car. You'll see, it really looks great. There you go, you put it in place. Normally it fits perfectly. First screw, perfect. Second screw. So these are the screws that go directly into the frame rail. Normally it should fit perfectly too. Why doesn't it fit perfectly? Because it's not flush. Or maybe it's because the welding made my steel warp, so now it's not aligned anymore. That seems to be it. Damn. For once, I really put in the effort to make a nice piece. Look, over there, I put in the 2 screws to show you as an example. And here, you see, when I line it up, we are not lined up with the holes at all anymore. Here. In terms of height, it's here. So, annoying. Well, in the end it was a false alarm. I just widened the holes a little bit. I made them 12 instead of 11. And that gave me enough clearance in the crash bar to screw it in properly without forcing it. Well, let's try to put the bumper back on, see if the welding didn't warp the crash bar too much. I hope not. Anyway, let's go. Oh, damn, that's beautiful. Look at that. There, it fits perfectly. Perfect. It's perfect. There's nothing irreversible, just 2 small holes. I considered making one here since I originally wanted to do it there, but worried it might push the bumper inward. I like it to stick out a bit, even if I need to pull the fender more. I think it's good here, since the flange right behind it acts as reinforcement. Well, that's done. There you go. It's temporary, you know. I have no idea if it's going to stay like this. Honestly, I have to admit I'm not really comfortable doing this, you know. But well. Damn, I can't access the fender. The 2 places aren't even connected. There's no connection. Damn it, you couldn't check before, asshole. It's temporary, okay? You got it. I'll leave the zip-tie job to the outside of the car. We'll do something cleaner next time. But at least we have a bumper that's holding onto the car. Well, maybe right now you see it's instant regret. Because I'm thinking maybe we should have done it differently. Yeah, we need a support in the middle too. It doesn't have to be big, but since we have the tube, we can use it to do it better. Hi, today is the last day of filming, it's the day before the video gets published. If everything goes well, today I'll be installing the side skirts and the rear bumper. I'm really looking forward to having it finished, but that's not all. I also have something to announce to you. It's this t-shirt. This t-shirt, which is now available on the Perrier Citron store at citron.fr, I'll put the link right here, is actually entirely handmade in Grenoble, so not very far from home. I'm really happy about this item designed by my friend, who also has his own brand. Links are in the description if you're interested. I noticed you really like this car and the project, so I thought I'd mark the occasion with a cool, high-quality screen-printed t-shirt that won't fade in the wash. The t-shirt is cotton, 180 grams, anyway, I'm not going to talk about the t-shirt for the whole video. And of course, the big illustration on the back looks awesome. A big thank you to Louis for drawing this crazy design. It's simply the RS3 with the body kit doing a huge drift. I'm a huge fan of this t-shirt. Honestly, this is one of my favorite t-shirts we've made so far. So there you go, I'll say it again, it's available on the Perrier citron.fr store, and obviously it will help fund the end of this project, and especially, you guessed it, this project here. I'm gonna finish the video wearing it because I've waited weeks to share this and I'm so happy I can finally tell you. We're starting to install the side skirt. Yeah, and basically for the installation of the side skirt, I've put it on and taken it off the car 8 times now. You just have to come and take a look. Shave off just a little bit of this part, take it off, put it back on, take it off, put it back on, take it off, put it back on, until it's perfect.
So let's go for a time lapse. Well, honestly, installing fiberglass side skirts on a car is really not easy. So honestly, good job to Daddy because what he did is really clean.
Very few adjustments were needed. And that's where you can tell it's really homemade because the driver's side was much easier to install than the passenger side. You can see the driver's side is more twisted. It could be the mold, heat, transport or storage. There are many possibilities. Honestly, it's not that bad, look. Basically, you can see it already looks really clean. For now, I've just attached them temporarily with a couple of zip ties. The goal isn't to drive on the autobahn or drift with the car. You know, it's really just to get an idea of the placement and the adjustments that need to be made. So you see here, I put a little R. Why? Because if you listen closely to the mic, here you can see that it's super thin. So R for reinforcement. I'll need to buy materials for some fiberglass work to reinforce the back of the side skirt so it doesn't cave in, since the goal is to press it firmly in place. And actually, when I really press it all the way, I can feel that there's a real weakness here, so something will need to be done. And then, well, to fix it permanently, it's very simple. I'll do something that might not be super neat. You see here, it's the same. Actually, you can see there's a noticeable gap. So the goal is to drill the fender again here, and put in inserts. The inserts are basically like rivets that will clamp onto the fender. And inside that thing, there's threading. And I can put in a screw with a little. There are things made specifically for this that look really good, that make it look very neat. So that's the goal, is to do something really clean. Why? Well, the goal is to make something that's really removable. I think in the comments a lot of you will say, but you should mold it, you should fill it in the car so it becomes a single piece. I don't want to do that because it needs to come apart quickly. If we ever need to take it off with a jack, if we want to put it on the lift, if we want to do anything at all, we need to be able to remove the side skirt quickly and easily. Okay, so that's done. You see, the driver side is done and obviously the passenger side is the same. It's installed, it really gives the car a crazy look. But it's not finished yet. Now we're going to take care of the thing I'm most excited about. It's the rear bumper. And why am I excited about it? Because now that's it. It's going to completely change the car. In the video, the guy just grabs it and pulls it. It's a joke. I think he's messing with me, that guy. He must be thinking I'm weak or something. Like, he just does that and then it's a joke.
Bastard.
Yeah, well, this is where potentially everything is at stake. Because what you need to know is that I'd really like to keep the hitch. I think that's what really makes this thing unique. And imagine a car drifting with a hitch. Not like a trailer, but you know, it's cool, right? But really, just imagine this thing, with a trailer behind it, a flatbed, pulling that. There you go, you get the idea. So I'd really like to keep the hitch. The problem is, the bumper is massive. Like, really massive. That means I'd have to make a huge hole in the bumper to install the hitch. It's not the price of the kit that bothers me, it's that it's going to look really ugly. So anyway, all that to say that, well, yeah, I'm going to fit my bumper now. But honestly, there's no point in fitting it because no matter what, yeah, the hitch is right in the middle of the bumper, man. I think what I need to do now is find the center of the bumper and make the hole little by little so I can make it as small as possible, just enough to fit snugly around the hitch. That's honestly the best way to do it. It's been an hour since I began working on the Mercedes rear bumper. So I took off the hitch because with the bumper going over the hitch, it just wasn't possible, at least not without cutting. So now the goal is going to be, there are several objectives, you see. There are really several objectives. The first is to attach the bumper. So basically I'm going to have to make a small tube again, cut it to the right length to match the exact width of the bumper. Which means, well, let's take off 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, something like that, just to be a bit generous. Don't drive it closer, be. It's going to be midnight. So basically the crash bar, you see I'm holding it on the bender because it's about the right height. As you saw, I welded some small steel pieces to set it at the right measurements and so on, so the bumper would be in the right place. So I machined those little pieces. Well, it doesn't look like it. I agree with you, it doesn't look like it at all, but those little things are engineering marvels. No, honestly, it was a real pain to make them. They're welded onto the two little knobs I made. You see, it's welded like that onto the car. And the two notches at the top are for welding the crash bar. It was really a pain. I just spent an hour doing that. So now I need to tack this onto the long rods and then we'll be able to do the very first real test fit of the rear bumper. Okay, the crash bar is stacked in place now. That should be enough, yeah? Oh, here we are. There's a chance this won't work at all. Let's do it like this. We'll slide it in as best we can. Oh, yeah, no, right here, yeah. I really nailed the height perfectly. It makes it look completely insane. But now you really realize the size of the bumper. When I put on the front bumper and the side skirts, it really gave it quite a look. Right now, since it's a different color, it honestly looks like we stuck something made of modeling clay on the car. Tell me what you think about it in the comments, but it's starting to look really, really, really aggressive. Guys, that's it, it's the next day, the day the video goes live. I'm excited to take the car out of the workshop for the first time. So I removed the exhaust, I fixed the rear bumper. It's ready to go out. So of course, as you understood, it's still, once again, temporary. This was really a video to show you the direction the CRS3 is going to take. But in the meantime, that's it, we can take the car out. And believe me, it makes me really, really happy. It's the first time we really hear the sound of the car's exhaust without that horrible squeaking belt. Incredible. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If that's the case, as always, don't hesitate to leave a like, subscribe and leave a comment to tell me what you liked about this car. Personally, what I'm really starting to love is the look, the lines of the car. It's just crazy. It looks like the junkyard is spitting on us or something. Damn, seriously, it looks like a real Polish drift car. So I'm telling you, I'm really, really, really looking forward to showing you the next episode with this Mercedes. I've already got it all planned out in my head. I think it's going to start getting a little wild, a little messy. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. I loved making it for you. Don't forget the S202 t-shirts, so RS3 Wagon, are now available on perrier-citron-citron.fr, and that's for a limited time because you can only buy them until October 20th. There you go. Regardless of sales, production starts October 20th as arranged with my supplier. It's simpler this way, and I'm handling shipping this time. It's not Chronopost, so hopefully it will be much less chaotic. In the meantime, I'm sending you big hugs, and I'll see you next time on YouTube.